No, there's not a quid pro quo that you can prove, but there's a link of economic gain and political gain, because the development industry gets economic gain by getting all of their candidates on the council, or the majority, because then it tends to go their way. And the political gain is that they get the funds to get themselves elected. So that's the quid pro quo. Almost all of the money from development interests went to 4 of the 8 candidates for mayor and city council, according to the most recent campaign finance reports. Councilman Mike Harris, Councilman Mike Healy, John Mills, and David Rabbit received a combined $73,000, or 92% of the money donated by development interest. The remaining $6,525 went to Councilwoman Pam Torliet and Teresa Barrett. Spence Burton and Tiffany Renee received nothing from developers. And this is the key. While all 8 candidates say they support slow growth of the city, those getting little or no development money have said that the current rate of growth is a problem unless traffic solutions are found. But therein we see the pattern of this 5-2 split in our council, where we've had 2 viewpoints that call it smart growth, slow growth, planned growth, or whatever you want, versus candidates who are funded primarily by the development contributions. And by the way, this is where you see the problem of the disenfranchisement of you and me, all the voters in the city.
It was basically, wake people up to the nature of the kind of economic game that they're participating in. The resistance is now beginning. Communities are realizing that when these stores come in, when a Walmart comes in, or a Target, or one of these big boxes, there's only a finite amount of retail, consumption available. They will, when they end up, most of the small businesses that provide decent quality jobs, that are connected to the community, that are recirculating the money through the community, disappear. And that money is, basically they eat up the retail whole. And so it's a net loss in most communities. These big box stores are a net loss. And people have to realize that not just the economic impacts, not just the environmental impacts, but the social impacts as well. Because it's creating a alienated kind of culture where people do not feel themselves to be in any kind of meaningful way connected to the life of the community, because they're moving from these transitory shell jobs one to another. And that sense of connection to community is lost.
Quite a bit more of the money that you spend at a local store stays in your local economy. One of the things that I wanted to do with the book was to really put a face, if you will, on that. What does that really mean? So I went out and I interviewed small town newspaper publishers. I interviewed community bankers. I interviewed farmers. I interviewed small manufacturers. All these companies and people that we don't typically think of. We know that the Main Street retailers are hurt by Walmart and Home Depot, but what we don't know is that there's this whole ripple effect that goes through all of these other sectors of the economy.
When you look at a corporate chain, they're providing the minimum necessary local jobs, typically fairly low skilled and low paying jobs. Like when you look at a Target or a Walmart or a Home Depot, it's mainly clerks and cashiers and some stock people. The corporate profits are exported to the national headquarters. The wages for those positions are about all that remains in the community. By contrast with your typical independent business, whether it's in-house on their staff or contracting with other local businesses, they're using local graphic designers and accountants. They're putting their money into local banks, using local insurance reps, a whole array of local supporting services. Webmasters is another one, where Whereas at the corporate chain, all of that is centralized at corporate headquarters. What it means to the local community is it's losing a tremendous amount of money. The better paying positions typically, and those that have more career potential, are not being used locally. They're simply at corporate headquarters.
One of the consequences of this pattern of development that we're seeing is that we're now driving more than ever for shopping. Between 1990 and 2001, the number of road miles that the average American household logged just for shopping grew by more than 40%. For the country as a whole, that's an extra 100 billion miles on the road every year at about 40 million metric tons of additional CO2 over 1990 levels just for shopping. Now some people say, well, you know, there's sprawl, suburbanization, and I asked that question myself, and I went and looked at the data, and what you see is that our driving for shopping has grown 3 times as fast as our driving for all other purposes. So there's something more going on here than just the general trend towards suburbanization. There's a direct connection between this and the rise of big box retailers in that period.
Regency Centers is a large Jacksonville, Florida-based corporation with plans to build an entire shopping center filled with big box stores: Target, Circuit City, Borders, and others. Regency operates approximately 400 shopping centers around the U.S., and the company is known for its acquisition abilities. To make way for the East Washington Place development, the company bulldozed the Kenilworth Junior High School, and the Little League baseball diamonds will be removed next. This massive clear-cutting was necessary not only to make room for the giant big box stores, but also to make room for the 16-acre parking lot intended to serve them. An encircling highway beltway would tightly bind the community swimming pool, which would be in the shadow of this project. Surrounding the pool with highways has made people wonder if the pool won't follow the ballparks and school and one day be acquired by Regency and bulldozed.
I think it's always dangerous for a large out-of-town corporation to come in and take over the land and develop anything, a set of stores or office buildings, and have all the revenue, the rents, and the business development go back to that corporation that doesn't feed very much into the community. And I think that is one of my biggest concerns. The pool aside, I'm really interested in the pool, of course, but you know, there's a sense that Petaluma is selling its revenue down the river.
It's the only 50-meter pool in Sonoma County presently, and in looking at the plans as they've been presented by the developer, there was virtually no consideration given to the swim center, the quality of life of the swim center. Traffic certainly that would come into the area directly surrounding the swim center would be phenomenal. Noise pollution, air pollution, we would be basically an island surrounded by roadway and asphalt. Not a healthy environment. I'm not sure, you know, if the swim center could survive surrounded on all sides by asphalt and by big development. We've all seen the kind of development that's planned for the site here, and it's heartless, it's soulless. We don't need that.